Hey everybody, welcome back to Joseki with Dummies, in particular the Endgame series that we've just started. I'm Vail, and in this playlist we're going to be looking at Endgame problems. Last week we looked at some Endgame theory and reasons why it's important to study Endgame. In this episode we're going to look at two 9x9 Endgame problems. And I have not looked at the answers to these problems. The idea here is that we can work through them together. So let's take a look at this first problem here. Looking at this, we see that it is, even though black just went here, it is the problem is what are the best moves for black. So let's take a moment. I'll pause the video and feel free to do the same. And let's take a look at what we've got. Okay, so having spent a couple minutes looking at this problem, bearing in mind that I'm not very good at Endgame, that's what this is for. I have, I believe, located the areas that would be naturally drawn to play at, and they're here, I think. Afterwards, we're going to check the book and see what the answers are. My guess is that J2, while it is technically, I think J2, it's not double sente. It's a sente move, but using my method that I discussed previously in the video before this one in Endgame, if it's 6 points or more, I tend to bump it up to the next category. So playing J2 is definitely worth 6 points, more than 6 points. And so I bump it up from a sente move to a double sente category. Remember, the categories are in order of importance. They are double sente moves, sente, reverse sente, and gote. So in this case, I think J2, which is this move, is going to be the biggest move on the board, because notice that white cannot block the connection at J3. Therefore, the best that white can do is descend. White can also not play at J1 because that's Atari. So when white descends, black connects. And now notice that if white allows black to play at G1, white loses those 3 stones. So therefore, white needs to take that move for their self, and then this is a sente move because Atari, and now black has sente to play elsewhere. So I think that's the first play. The next option is F9, which I believe is double sente. Notice that white has to block, black connects, and now white has to connect. And the same would go if white played first at G9. That's how you know it's a double sente move. If black plays here or if white plays here, it ends in sente for white or for black. Whoever plays there first is going to get sente. In other words, that's a double sente. That's the highest category of endgame move. However, it might not be the most valuable. It might not have the highest priority. Just because something is double sente doesn't mean it's the biggest move on the board. So in this case, I think that the move here at J2 is bigger, but that this move here is the next biggest. So actually, let's go ahead and mark these. So let's do it this way. Let's mark these with numbers. And we'll go 1 here, 2 here. This is my guess. Now I think that the next biggest move is A7. because this is a reverse, it's kind of a reverse sente move. When black plays here, he gets sente because white has to connect at b8. If white was to play here first, then, pardon me, if white was to play here first, it would be gote for white. So white doesn't necessarily want to take this move first, but it is sente if black takes it. So when black takes the move, it ends in sente, which is why I think that this will be number 3. Then we have these two moves, which, honestly, now that I think about it, it depends on whether or not one has been played. If one has been played, then these stones are off the board, which means that this push is no longer a move that can be made. However, this one is. So how about this? How about we say that this is number 4 and that this isn't anything anymore? All right, that is my guess for board number 1. Let me pause the video now and I will double check and make sure and see if we got them right or wrong. Okay, I hope you got a chance to review on your own before we continue. We made some mistakes, but we did get some right. I'm actually encouraged by how much I got right, considering how bad I am at Endgame. So, according to the solution, it is correct to play here first at this double sente move. It ends as we described, like this. This apparently is bigger than the move that I pointed out in the beginning at J2. However, that is the next move that is to be played. The book says that this is reverse sente. In other words, that if white was to stop this move from happening, it would end in gote for white because black doesn't have to respond to it. However, it is a very large move, so this one follows the standard course. So we take the double sente, we take this move first, and then this plays out in a slightly different way. Instead of descending at h1, white connects at f3. This ends up better because now black will connect here, and now if anything, the continuation here will end in gote for black. So now that white has taken those stones off the board, it does end in gote for white, but it was such a big move that white didn't want to play there first. Same for this. This is the next biggest move, so this is the third largest move on the board. Because it ends in sente for black, but gote for white, it is a reverse sente. This too is a reverse sente. If white was to play at d1 or d2, nothing would happen. Black would not need to respond. However, it is sente for black, and he gets the fifth move that I didn't catch before, which is here. Again, if white was to play here at c5, no response from black would be needed, but here it is sente for black because white needs to connect at d5. This is the end result, and in the end, after filling in some dame here and here and here, we get an end result of black wins by 1 point. Okay, so I think that this is interesting in the sense that we got the general pattern we got right, but the flow of it was wrong. So I thought that this was bigger. I guess maybe I underestimate the value of sente. Let's see if we can keep those lessons in mind as we move on to the next problem. which is this. Spoilers. So let's pause here for a moment and let's take a look at this series of problems. I should mention briefly that it is again Black's move, and we are looking for the best moves for Black. And if it wasn't apparent before, Black does have this stone here at J8. So let's examine the board. Okay, so having looked at this, I think that the marked points are the largest points for Black. And I think that they go in the order that I have recorded here. So I believe that E7 is the largest. Oops, not working. Because it captures these two stones cleanly, whereas the next move, White could save them by playing at E7 as well. So here, this makes Black 5 points, whereas before it would have made White 2 points. So this is a 7-point move. The interesting thing about this, I see why maybe these two are paired together in the book, where they go back to back, because the first one, it was about keeping Sente, right? The one we just watched was about like making sure that we take the moves in the correct order. This one seems like all of the moves are Gote for Black, so it's about calculation. So these are really good opening problems because it teaches us how to delineate those 4 categories of moves, right? To start with double Sente, move on to Sente or then reverse Sente, and then finish with your Gote moves. It's all Gote, so we have to factor in how big the moves are. Because notice, I think that the next move after this will be for White, since it ends in Black's Gote, to kill these stones. And then Black will do something down here. I think Black has a number of options. Black could play at E1. He could play at E2. It all basically ends up the same. Everything that Black can do here will take away all of the space in here. So this move is worth 3 points in Gote. White takes there, and Black saves these 2 stones. This would be worth, oh man, how much would that be worth? So if White played at C4, because of a snapback, White would capture these 2 stones. So this move is worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points in Gote for Black. So maybe actually this move before this one. Let me mark these down. So then after that, I think this move to finish that off. But let's mark these. So going back, I think now looking at it, I think that this is number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4. I think that's all that Black is able to get. So with that in mind, I will pause the video again, and we will take a look at our answers in the book. Okay, so this is very interesting. We were pretty close on this one too. There's 1 or 2 major differences. So first is this move. This is the biggest move on the board. Let me see what the book says that's worth. Okay, we were right. That's worth 7 points. Man, I feel amazing about that, actually. I'm so happy that I was able to calculate that correctly. That's worth 7 points. Okay, fantastic. It says there's no bigger move, so Black has to play here first. Then White is going to descend here. That's worth 6 points. Why is that worth 6 points? Because it could have been, yeah, because if black plays at J5, he saves 3 stones, whereas if white plays here, he kills 3 stones. So adding that together, that's 6 points. Okay, so this is worth 7. This is worth 6. So interestingly, the book says this is the next move. And it makes sense because if white has descended here and decided this is the biggest move on the board, then threatening to negate that move would be the next biggest thing, right? Didn't think about it at the time, but this is definitely the next biggest move. Same reason as the previous move. So now that's the only black sente move that really existed. So after that, it says that this is worth 5 points. We had that right? 1, 2, yeah. Because black would save his 2 stones versus white would get 1. No. Black's not making any money here. He's just saving his 2 stones. So this saving those 2 stones takes 5 points because reminder Vail, Go is a zero-sum game. So if you can save your stones, you are taking those points away from your opponent. So just figure out what this would have been worth if white had been able to capture them, and that's the value of the move. So this move is worth 5 points. This is worth 4 points. And this is worth 3 points. Why is this worth 4 points? 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah. 1, 2, 3. I only see 3. Why is that worth 4 points? Oh, because if white didn't play here, then black would capture here. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay, so adding those 2 things together, that's worth 4 points. That's the next biggest. And then this is worth 3 points because if white had played here, then white would get these 3 points. But because he didn't, that is worth 3 points. And then white takes at 8, worth 2 points. And then filling in all of the dame, which there really isn't any for white. I guess white gets this one here. This is the end result of the game. Oh, one more for black. And the book says that this ends with black winning by 1 point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It seems like he's winning by more than that, but this is the final score. And so, yeah, two very interesting board problems. The first one highlighting the importance of knowing the categories of moves, and this one highlighting the importance of being able to calculate correctly. So I'm glad we were able to do those together. If you find this kind of content valuable, please like and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot more content regularly coming out. The next one will be a game review on Wednesday. And every Saturday we have life and death problems. And every Monday we have some endgame problems. So join me on my journey to get better at this fantastic game of Go. And if you have any comments or any mistakes that you think I've made in the process, please let me know in the comments below. And until next time, everybody, Excelsior.